This is a continuation of a previous retargeting tutorial. We're just gonna play with some settings and export our animations to Maya for tweaking.
Walk no weapons. Yeah, so for some reason it seems like I have a little bit of a bounce in my bum for this particular retargeting situation. Um, we could try to tweak it. Let's see the win. Yes, as you can see, it works quite well already. Surprisingly well, in fact. Maybe some overstretching, but it's something we could easily tweak. So this is really powerful. Let's save it. We can try to tweak some settings in there. Let's try to go to this horse new. And in there, maybe instead of using that hips as the beginning, maybe we should try to use the spine as the beginning. Okay. See if that improves it. And let's see what happens here as well. We also are using, for the spine, we're using the pelvis. Maybe we should be using the spine. Let's see what that does, if that does any better. In our IK retargeter, let's see, preview scene, specific animation, walk. So as you can see, it still happens. It's just to a little lesser degree. But finding the right root joints is really important. What I've also done in the past, I created a different limp IKs where I retargeted things. Also, there is some settings here that you could use potentially. So there's quite a bit of things that you could tweak, but mainly the things that you tweak are in the other assets. I mean, global settings. You have some different settings here that you could enable and disable things. So this is just simply FK. Stride warping can also be done. You could warp the steps, make them longer or make them shorter if you want to. You can do like a, like a sideways splay kind of thing. So you could adjust that, and I think that's a problem in our rig here because we have a little bit of a wide animation there for some reason, which doesn't work too well. So that's nice. Another thing is, well, sideways offset. Obviously, you can do that, but that's not really something that we want to do. And so that's pretty nice. And I think that's, well, there's root settings as well here. So here, maybe we can adjust it a little as well. So like blend to source, that doesn't really help us too much. Scale horizontal. Okay, so this is where we can kind of move it. And that way we can move our character forward and backwards. That doesn't seem to work for some reason, the scale vertical. Translation offset. That's where we can translate things. If we want to. Affect IK horizontal. Let's see. Affect IK vertical. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I made a big mistake here. The big mistake I made is that I used this pelvis to drive that pelvis rather than this to that. That's my mistake. It's just so stupid. Oh my god. So, my friends, when you're setting a retarget route, don't use the guy. Use the horse pelvis. Set retarget route. Boom, okay, that's going to be much better now. So when we go to our retargeter now, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to check out my Patreon and website. I offer even more in-depth tutorials, many of them free, but the best and most exclusive content is on Patreon. There, I share my game development journey and create regular rigging and character game dev courses. By supporting me, you're helping me create more quality content, and we both win. Visit my website at cornica3d click, or join me on Patreon, patreon.com/cornica3d. Thanks for your support. Okay guys, so this is basically it when we are retargeting those characters. Now with this full body IK, all you have to do is you can do the target mesh offset so you can see better. And let's now, it's running the retarget already, so it's retargeting, but we want to see it in the previous scene. Use specific animation, and we want to use a walk, for instance. Perfect. So yeah, that's looking like something that we can work with here. Now you could try another animation, for instance, like a run. There's some kind of a bobbing going on with the root. I'm just kind of curious if I can go into the root here and try to tweak it somehow. Full body IK, it doesn't really have many settings here, but what I've done before is I made like an individual limb by case, and that might work a little bit better. It's an option too if you want to. Let's see. Let's see if it changes anything. Why not? Okay, so add new solver, limb by K, limb by K, limb by K, limb by K. Let's just do the limbs for now with the IK. So like here, missing a goal. So we can just add one of those goals for the hoofs. Head goal, front hoof. Connect to select the solver. Okay, so you see we can just kind of connect it to that one now. Interesting that it's connected to both. And then for the root, we want to select that. New IK goal, set root on selected solver. Scapula sets, so we gotta add that one. Connect to selected solver, and then we can just add that like that. So we can just kind of, make those limb by case behave in a certain way. And then that connect to select the solver. And then that one we can also do where we just set root bone and add to selected solver. Okay, so now we have those IKs here. So it's very similar, but as you can see when I select them, they're getting highlighted. We could also do the tail separate too. Let's do like a limb by K for the tail. We can just add that. And then the goal, we just add goal. Add goal to select the solver. And now we have a different system here. So now here, now my IK is only running full body up to the head. But it's not really worrying too much about the legs anymore. So now this actually worked quite well. And then now if I do the walk, so I think this is as good as we're going to get from here, which is fine. We can always just retarget it and export it to Maya. So let's just play some other animations. I'm interested in walk. I'm interested in run. That's cool. I'm interested in attack. but horse attack. Yeah, so that one is a little bit overstretched, I guess, but it's very similar. Um, they're not great to start with. There is some foot sliding here, which I'll have to fix. There is also going to be a hurt animation that I definitely want, so that's fine. Um, yeah, that will need some love. My root for some reason is not moving correctly with this one. Then I have the die. Die is important, and die is probably not going to work too well, or actually it is working. Yeah, so for some reason my sideways movement of the root is not really... Okay, so I feel like my feet are kind of sliding, but for some reason it's not really, it's moving the legs rather than moving the root motion. So that's a little bit problematic here. So I'm curious if there is something here that I can tweak. Stride warping, just disable it for now. Root settings. Um, yeah, so that will kind of, yeah, so that's the kind of problem I was having here, that kind of messes me up a little bit. But if I do a die now, it will now translate the root as well. So as you can see, that works much better for those animations. And so here's our retargeter. So let's just retarget those animations and export them. So how do we do that? So, you know, we have this IK retargeter, and here basically we could just use it to retarget animations. Now, how do we know how to do that? So if you go to animations and then here you can just do retarget animations. And so maybe selecting the animations that you want to retarget makes the most sense. Um, so we definitely want the attack. We want a... We'll take the defend as well, even though it's probably the same. Let's do the die, the hurt. Let's do idle. Let's do run of some sort, and let's do stand. We don't need the stand, we need the walk, run and walk. And then we can also do attack horse. Okay, so those are the animations we want to retarget. And so right click on them and then retarget animations. And then target skeletal mesh, you want to do the SK horse new. And for some reason, I cannot really, not auto-generate retargeter, buddy. I use my IK retargeter. There you go. And now basically, okay, so unfortunately you have to select them again here, which is annoying, but it is what it is. Oh well. Attack horse, horse bite, do that, die, hurt, idle, run, walk, and I feel like this might be good enough. We can always retarget more later, but that looks like about what I need. So export those animations, and now it wants to know where to export them. I'm gonna tell them to export them into this horse new folder. Rename new assets. suffix RTG or something. Export. And so yeah, just basically export, and it retargeted all the animations. So now you can have a look. That's the ability attack. All right, so there's that one. So as you can see, it does a pretty good job. I mean, maybe the pose is a little bit weird, but we can easily tweak that. Yeah, so there's the def, there's the hurt, there is the idle, which is basically just standing. Um, there's the run, so that one worked out really well. It's a lot of time saving, and there's the walk. So as you can see, it's looking promising. So now with those animations, I'm just gonna batch export them and use my rig in Maya to tweak them. So let's just save them and then basically just select all of those animations here. And then asset actions, I'd say export. Or we can just export, yeah, no, export. And then DCC, characters, horse new. And animations. And then here, you just save them. Export. And so you have to do this for every single one of them, which is annoying, but it's fine. Okay, so now it's all exported. And so that's it. Now we can take those animations to Maya and work on them. Here we have them. So now the question is how are we going to put those animations on our rig? Because in Maya, we can easily load those animations on the skeletal mesh, but how can we load them on the rig? And so for that, we'll need a special tool that we have, but it's a material for another tutorial.
So first let's open a skeletal mesh in Maya for our horse.
So look at that, file import, and then here we can just import the walk as an FBX, import FBX, and here there is this, so let's just import, and then that will load the animation on this, like that. See what I mean? But this is not on the rig, right? So that's the problem. What we want to do is we want to load those animations on our rig that we rigged before with the rigging system. So if you open that, you want those animations loaded on this, so you could tweak it and adjust it, right? So that's the next step. Okay, guys. All right, guys, I think it's time to wrap this one up. We will pick it up in the next one. In meanwhile, make sure to visit my